Hi guys, welcome to the second Sunday of Lent. I'm so glad you are joining us here today. So if you notice, we are back in our classroom. Starting next Sunday, we will be opening up our classroom for children's liturgy. If you look on the floor, when you come in, there will be these X's on the floor. So when you come through our door, we will be taking your temperature, and you will follow the X's. You'll come down to the altar to get your blessing, and you will make sure you're having a distance by putting your hands out and trying to stand on the X's in front of the altar. And once we get our blessing, we will walk to the classroom as normal, and you'll come in. When you're coming through the door, somebody will take your temperature, and then you will come to one of these X's, starting on this side of the room first. All right, and we'll make sure we have some ventilation going on in here, and make sure that everybody's wearing their mask. I will have my mask on as well, and we will have a safe but fun children's liturgy. So for today, the second Sunday of Lent, I hope your guys' Lent is going well. Sometimes getting through Lent can feel that we are somewhat like climbing a very steep mountain. In today's gospel, Jesus leads 3 of his friends to the top of a steep mountain, and what they find at the top makes all the effort of climbing up that steep mountain all worth it. So let's prepare our hearts to hear today's wonderful gospel. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. Six days later, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, and led them up a high mountain where they were alone. As they looked on, a change came over Jesus, and his clothes became shining white, whiter than anyone in the world could wash them. Then the 3 disciples saw Elijah and Moses talking with Jesus. Peter spoke up and said to Jesus, "Teacher, how good it is that we are here. We will make these 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He and the others were so frightened that he did not know what to say. Then a cloud appeared and covered them with its shadow, and a voice came from the cloud, "This is my own dear son. Listen to him." They took a quick look around, but did not see anyone else. Only Jesus was with them. As they came down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has risen from death." They obeyed his order, but among themselves they started discussing the matter. "What does this rising from the dead mean?" And they asked Jesus, "Why do the teachers of the law say that Elijah has to come first?" His answer was, "Elijah is indeed coming first in order to get everything ready. Yet why do the scriptures say that the Son of Man will suffer much and be rejected? I tell you, however, that Elijah has already come, and that people treated him just as they pleased, as the scriptures say about him." This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. All right. This may have a seat. Okay. So why did Jesus lead his people to a mountaintop. Yeah, well, Jesus had began to preach to the people, and whenever he went, crowds would gather to listen. And the only way to ensure that he could be alone is to climb on top of a high mountain, because he had, remember, so many groups of people, and so sometimes it was too hard for Jesus to be alone. What happened to Jesus on the mountaintop that day? For a few awesome moments on the mountaintop, Peter, James, and John saw Jesus being transfigured or completely changed in appearance. The light of the world, dazzled with God's glory, would shine brightly from his face and his clothes. So now you can zoom into this picture here. This picture was one of the greatest 15th century pictures by Raphael, who was one of the greatest 15th century artists, among several great artists of that time. And so if you look at this picture, this is a picture of the Transfiguration, and it shows Jesus here rising up. And though it doesn't say that he was rising up, it shows how this was such a beautiful moment, and Jesus was so glorious, more than anything we've ever seen, whiter than we could ever wash our clothes. It was quite an amazing sight, showing God's glory here in this picture. Why do you think that Jesus wanted to share this very special moment? This moment gave a glimpse of God's glory and a taste of his unconditional love for his disciples, which would strengthen them through tough times. God's love really strengthens us through our tough times, especially during Lent. It can be hard during Lent with our sacrifices, but God's love gives us strength, just like it did the disciples. And how do you think 3 disciples felt when they witnessed Jesus being transformed? What do you guys think? How do you think they felt? It's probably a lot to take in. And they were overpowered by the vision of God's glory and were barely able to gaze upon him. God's glory was so amazing that they couldn't even look at him. And it said that they were fearful and probably confused and amazed. They probably felt a lot of feelings at that moment. Jesus told his friends not to tell anyone immediately about what they had seen. How do you imagine that might have felt? Probably was hard for them, huh? To have something so amazing, to be a witness of something and not to be able to share it. Now, we know that they seen Moses and Elijah, and Moses was a very important person. He saved the Israelites and brought them out of slavery. And a lot of people thought that Elijah would come back when the Messiah was coming. So these show these signs that Jesus is the Messiah. All right, I'm going to be linking some coloring and the new bulletin and some crafts below this video. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and I love you, and be blessed.